Have you noticed how scammers seem to be inventing new tricks every single day, especially aimed at seniors? Growing older doesn't just come with wisdom, it also comes with a world that can feel harsher, and while technology has given us countless conveniences, it has also handed criminals powerful tools to exploit people when they're most vulnerable. What once felt safe and familiar can suddenly turn into a trap, and sadly, it's often the kindest and most trusting individuals who end up being deceived. That's why being aware isn't just a good idea, it's absolutely essential if you want to protect your savings, your peace of mind, and your independence. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 of the newest scams currently spreading like wildfire among older adults. On the surface, each of these scams looks believable, but lurking underneath is a scheme that can do real damage if you don't recognize it in time. From fake voices on the phone to online scams that look completely legitimate, today's fraudsters are operating with a level of sophistication we've never seen before, and they are zeroing in on seniors in alarming numbers. Stick with me until the end, because the final scam I'll share might be the most shocking of all, and knowing about it could save you, or someone you love, from losing a great deal of money. By the time you finish this video, you'll not only understand how to spot these scams, but you'll also feel more prepared and confident about protecting yourself in today's world. So let's dive right in. One of the fastest growing scams right now is the so-called tech support scam, which specifically targets older adults who may not feel as comfortable with computers and technology as younger people do. It often starts with either a phone call or a sudden pop-up on your computer screen warning you that something is seriously wrong. The message might insist that your computer is infected with a dangerous virus, that your bank account has been compromised, or that your device will shut down unless you act immediately. That sense of urgency is the bait, because when people feel panicked, they're much more likely to follow instructions from whoever seems to offer a solution. On the other end of the line, the scammer usually sounds calm, professional, and reassuring, which makes it incredibly easy to believe they're legitimate. They might even claim to be from a respected company like Microsoft or Apple, guiding you step by step through what appears to be a real troubleshooting process. At some point, they'll ask you to grant them remote access to your computer so they can fix the problem. But once you give them that access, they can see everything: your emails, your saved passwords, your bank accounts, and from that point on, the damage can be limitless. And many scammers try to trick people into paying for services that don't exist. They often ask for payment in ways that make it hard to trace or reverse. Because these methods are untraceable, once the money is gone, it's almost impossible to get it back. Even a small payment to a scammer can quickly lead to much bigger losses as they invent new reasons for you to pay. The cruel reality is that many seniors don't realize they've been duped until long after the money has vanished. Take, for instance, Leonard, a 79-year-old man who experienced this exact scam. One afternoon, while reading the news on his laptop, a pop-up flashed across his screen claiming his bank account had been hacked. The message urged him to call a phone number immediately. Worried, Leonard dialed the number and was connected to someone who confidently introduced himself as a technician. The man convinced Leonard to download a program that granted remote access to his computer. Within minutes, the scammer was moving files around on Leonard's screen, pretending to fix the issue. He was asked to make a payment to secure his account, which turned out to be a trick. Because it sounded urgent and somewhat reasonable, he handed over the payment without question. A week later, Leonard discovered that far more than $160 had disappeared from his bank account. The takeaway here is this: don't feel ashamed if something like this ever happens to you. These people are professional manipulators, and even the most careful among us can be caught off guard. What truly matters is learning the red flags. If you ever get a sudden phone call claiming your computer is in danger, or a pop-up that urges you to call a number immediately, pause and think. Real companies do not operate this way. They don't call you out of nowhere, and they certainly don't demand immediate payment in gift cards or wire transfers. When seniors understand how this scam works, they not only protect themselves, but also become a voice of warning for others. Talking openly about these experiences takes away the embarrassment and replaces it with strength. Every story that gets shared could be the very thing that stops someone else from walking into the same trap. By staying cautious and asking questions when something doesn't feel right, you're not just protecting your money, you're safeguarding your identity and your peace of mind. Another scam spreading quickly among older adults has to do with Medicare and health insurance. It usually kicks off with a phone call from someone pretending to be a representative of Medicare, Social Security, or even a health plan provider. These callers often use official-sounding jargon, and sometimes they'll rattle off your Medicare number or bits of your personal information they've managed to steal from elsewhere. Their pitch often revolves around tempting offers, new benefits, free medical equipment, or discounted prescriptions. But the real goal is always the same: to trick you into handing over sensitive information or signing up for services that will cost you far more than you realize. The reason this scam works so well is that it preys on something deeply important to seniors: healthcare. Fraudsters know how much older adults depend on their benefits, so they use that concern to build a false sense of trust. They might claim you're eligible for a free health checkup, or that you need to confirm your Medicare details to keep your coverage active. The language is carefully designed to sound urgent, making you feel like your benefits could disappear if you don't act right away. For someone who relies on Medicare, that sense of fear can easily overpower common sense. It's a cruel tactic that manipulates our most basic worries about health and security. Take Dorothy, for instance, an 82-year-old widow who fell victim to this scheme. She got a phone call from a man claiming to be from Medicare, who told her she qualified for a new diabetes monitor at no cost. All she had to do was confirm her Medicare number and date of birth. Wanting to take advantage of what seemed like a genuine offer, Dorothy gave him the information. A week later, she started receiving boxes of medical supplies she didn't need. Soon after, she discovered unauthorized charges on her Medicare account for equipment she didn't need or request. By the time she realized she'd been tricked, the damage was already done. This scam is effective because many older adults have been raised to respect authority, especially when it comes to government programs. If someone claims to be from an official agency, it feels natural to listen. On top of that, many seniors are juggling multiple medications or chronic health conditions, which makes offers of free or discounted care sound particularly appealing. The words these scammers use are chosen carefully to break down your defenses and push you into acting before you stop to question it. Here's the truth: Medicare will never call you out of the blue asking for personal details. They won't pressure you to provide sensitive information over the phone, and they certainly won't threaten to cancel your coverage if you don't cooperate. If you ever receive a call like this, the safest thing you can do is hang up right away. And if you're ever in doubt, use the official number printed on your Medicare card to double-check. Trust the contact information you already have, not what some stranger on the phone gives you. And since you've made it this far in the video, I'd love to know who's still with me. If you're finding this helpful, drop the number 2 in the comments below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, now's a good time to do it. Make sure you also turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our future videos. Your support means a lot. It allows us to keep creating content that both informs and inspires. Now let's keep going. In today's world, online shopping has become a lifeline for many seniors. When mobility isn't what it used to be, or when it's simply easier to order from home rather than head out, the convenience is undeniable. But along with that convenience has come an alarming rise in online scams, many of which are spreading at lightning speed. These scams often appear as fake websites, misleading ads, or phony delivery notifications that arrive through email or text message. At first glance, they look completely legitimate, but behind the polished surface is a setup designed to steal your money, your personal information, or both. There are countless ways these scams can begin. Maybe you spot an online ad for an item you've wanted for a while, listed at a price that feels almost too good to pass up. You click the link and land on a professional-looking website filled with glossy product photos, glowing customer reviews, and what looks like a secure checkout page. But after placing your order, the product never shows up. Even worse, the scammers now have your credit card details and your billing address. In other cases, the scam might come as a text or email claiming that a package couldn't be delivered. The message urges you to click a link to reschedule the delivery. That link, of course, doesn't lead to the shipping company, it leads to a site designed to steal your personal data or install malicious software on your device. Take Clifford, for example, a 73-year-old retiree who loved spending time in his garden. One day, he stumbled upon a website selling premium gardening tools at half the usual price. The site looked polished, with beautiful photos and pages of positive reviews. Thinking it was a good deal, Clifford placed an order. Weeks passed, but nothing arrived. When he tried contacting customer service, the phone number was disconnected and his emails bounced back. Not only had the scammers pocketed his payment, but they also attempted to charge his credit card again for additional purchases. It was a tough reminder that even small, everyday purchases online can come with big risks. Delivery scams are just as deceptive. One of the most common tricks is a text message that looks like it came from a major shipping company. The message might read, "Your package could not be delivered. Click here to confirm your address." For a senior waiting on a delivery, whether it's a gift from a grandchild or a medication from the pharmacy, that message can feel urgent and convincing. But clicking the link can open the door to fraud or even full-blown identity theft. The emotional hook in these scams is simple: expectation. When you're waiting for a package, the thought of it being lost or delayed creates instant worry, and scammers exploit that emotional reaction to push you into clicking before you have time to think. Once they've got your details, the damage can escalate quickly. The smartest defense is to treat online safety the same way you treat your own front door. You wouldn't hand your wallet to a stranger who showed up unannounced, so don't hand your private details to a website or message you don't fully trust. A quick pause to double-check can make all the difference. By staying cautious, you can enjoy the convenience of online shopping without falling into these traps. But not all scams come wrapped in technology. Some of the most heartbreaking ones prey on something much deeper: the human need for love and companionship. Romance scams are among the most painful cons targeting seniors today. They succeed because loneliness can be such a heavy burden in later years, and scammers know exactly how to exploit it. This type of scheme usually begins with a message, maybe through a social media site, an online dating platform, or even a random email. The scammer introduces themselves as a warm, kind-hearted person who seems to share your values and interests. At first, the conversations feel genuine. They're attentive, caring, and eager to listen. Over time, trust begins to build. And that's when the requests for money start. What makes romance scams especially dangerous is the slow, deliberate pace. Unlike tech support scams or delivery scams that strike quickly, these cons can drag on for weeks or even months before money is ever mentioned. The scammer might say they're traveling abroad, working on a project overseas, or facing a sudden personal crisis. Their stories are carefully designed to tug at your heartstrings. And because they've already invested so much time in gaining your trust, victims often feel compelled to help. Many seniors don't just send money once in these situations, they end up sending it over and over, convinced they're helping someone who truly cares about them. Take Beatrice, for example, a 76-year-old widow who joined a social site simply to stay in touch with her loved ones. Before long, she was contacted by a man who introduced himself as a retired military officer. He was charming, attentive, and seemed to understand her loneliness in a way that felt genuine. After several weeks of heartfelt exchanges, he told her a story. He was stranded overseas with no access to his bank account. Believing she was helping someone she trusted, Beatrice made a payment. Unfortunately, the scam continued, and she eventually realized it was a trick that cost her a lot. And while the financial blow was devastating, the emotional betrayal cut even deeper. That's the cruelest part of romance scams. They don't just drain bank accounts, they drain trust. Victims are often left feeling so hurt and ashamed that opening their hearts again, even to genuine people, feels almost impossible. Many stay silent, too embarrassed to tell family or friends what happened until it's far too late. So, how do you protect yourself from something like this? The first step is learning to spot the red flags. Be wary if someone you've never met in person starts professing strong feelings right away. Pay attention to repeated excuses about why they can't meet face-to-face. And most importantly, treat any request for money with suspicion. no matter how urgent or convincing it sounds. A real partner or true friend will never pressure you for financial help, especially early in a relationship. Knowledge really is power here. Awareness can turn vulnerability into strength. By understanding how romance scams operate, you can stay socially connected and enjoy genuine friendships or relationships without falling victim. And when you share what you've learned with others, you're not only protecting yourself, you're helping protect your community as well. If you're still with me and finding this video helpful, drop the number 4 in the comments below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit subscribe and tap the notification bell so you never miss one of our updates. Your support helps us keep making content that informs and empowers you. Now let's move on to another scam, one of the oldest tricks in the book, but still shockingly effective against seniors, the investment and prize scam. This scheme wears many disguises, but the heart of it is always the same. Scammers dangle something big in front of you, guaranteed profits, a massive lottery win, or a life-changing return, if only you act fast and send money. Seniors are often targeted because many are searching for safe investments for retirement or hoping to leave a little something behind for their loved ones. Those hopes are natural and good, but con artists twist them into opportunities to exploit. On the investment side, the scam usually begins with a phone call, an email, or even a flashy online ad claiming that a golden opportunity is about to explode. It might be a can't-miss stock, a plot of land overseas, or a special bond that supposedly beats the market. The pitch is always urgent: act now or miss out forever. But their true goal is simple: to get you to hand over your money. Once it's sent, they vanish and you're left with nothing but frustration and loss. The prize version of this scam is just as widespread. You might get a letter, a phone call, or even an email saying you've won a sweepstakes, a vacation, or a lottery. At first, it's thrilling. Who wouldn't get excited about winning something big? But then comes the catch. Before you can claim your prize, you have to cover taxes, processing fees, or shipping costs. That's the red flag. Real contests never require winners to pay up front. Unfortunately, in the rush of excitement, many seniors pull out a credit card or checkbook only to find later that the prize never existed in the first place. Consider Milton, a 68-year-old grandfather who enjoyed playing the occasional scratch-off ticket. One afternoon, he received a phone call telling him he had won a foreign lottery. The caller sounded completely official. He even gave Milton a badge number and offered to send over documents to prove it. The caller claimed Milton needed to make a payment to claim a prize. Believing it might be real, he followed along, but it was a scam and the prize never arrived. What hurt the most wasn't just the financial loss, it was that sinking feeling of betrayal, realizing that his own hope had been twisted and used against him. That's why these scams work so well. They play on two powerful emotions, hope and fear. Hope that maybe this is the moment you finally catch a financial break, and fear that if you don't act right away, you'll miss out forever. Scammers are masters at creating false urgency. Scammers often create a false sense of urgency and may try to isolate you, urging secrecy to prevent you from asking for advice or help. That isolation is deliberate, because the second you bring it up to someone you trust, the scam falls apart. The truth is simple. Legitimate investments always carry some risk. No one can promise guaranteed, oversized returns. And real prizes never, ever require you to pay upfront fees to claim them. If someone pushes you with a pitch that sounds too good to be true, chances are it is. The safest thing you can do is slow down, double-check, and run it past a trusted advisor, a financial institution, or even a family member before you send a dime. Remember, urgency is the weapon of scammers, not of honest opportunities. When you recognize these tactics for what they are, you're doing more than protecting your wallet. You're safeguarding your peace of mind, your dignity, and your future security. And when you share what you've learned with others, whether it's family, friends, or community groups, you multiply that protection. Awareness really is the strongest defense we have. As we wrap up this video, let's take a moment to reflect on the 5 scams we've uncovered together. From tech support cons to Medicare fraud, from online shopping traps to romance scams, and finally, investment and prize schemes, each one shows just how cunning and ruthless criminals can be when they target seniors. But each one also proves something even more important: knowledge is power. Awareness is your shield. It keeps your money safe, protects your identity, and preserves your peace of mind. And while it's natural to feel uneasy when you realize how common these scams have become, I want you to remember this: being cautious doesn't mean living in fear. It means living with confidence, wisdom, and strength. Every time you stop before clicking a suspicious link, every time you push back against a caller who pressures you, every time you check in with a trusted friend before making a decision, you are showing that you are stronger than the scammer who tried to take advantage of you. Scams will continue to change, but so will you. With each new bit of information you gain, you become less of a target and more of a protector for yourself and for those around you. That's the truth scammers can't take away. You are resilient, capable, and far from powerless. Thank you for spending this time with us today. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and share one thing you learned and how you'll use it in your own life. Your feedback not only encourages us, but it also helps others learn from your perspective. And if you found this video useful, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who might benefit. Your support is what allows us to keep creating content that informs and inspires. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.